did I learn during the hardest time of my life? Ooh. You're pulling the hard ones out. Probably the most difficult time of my life was when my son, at 8 years ago, had a severe brain injury. And I became a caregiver to him. He looked perfectly fine on the outside, but he was completely broken inside in basically every way, emotionally and all. So that was a very hard journey, but I learned once again, as I have throughout my entire life, is that God is in control and He loves us and we can trust Him even in the really terrible times. And thank God he's doing well. He works a full-time job. He has a steady girlfriend. He's a sweet kid. We love him. He's very close to both of us. Yeah, I learned that God is good even in the bad times.
Not to be a pushover. Like, just don't sit there and take what everybody dishes out at you. A man my mom was with at the time, and he ruined my life, and it made everything fall over. And I was just kind of letting him. I learned not to be a pushover from that. And then when I stopped being a pushover, things got worse and then they got better. He was stealing our money. He was selling my cars. He was not doing very nice things to me and my siblings. Those were the hard things, and the things he'd say, things he'd do. And then I kind of stopped taking orders and stopped letting those things happen. And it got worse by him just acting like I couldn't tell him no. I couldn't tell him that he couldn't do those things. And then it got better over time. I guess he realized that he couldn't listen. Like, I didn't have to listen to him. Yeah.
That family is the most important thing. The bondage and the love of family is something that, you can always come back to. At your weakest and worst point in life, you always have your family there that you can lean on and depend on. I went through a lot of hardship in life. I was injured in a car accident. I've had 4 back surgeries. I had both shoulders busted. I had both of those operated on. I had my neck operated on. And I was just at the bottom of life. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. I could just stay at home. And I had the love and support of my family. And there were times when I had to struggle to pay bills and things, and my family stepped in, and they made everything all right. I just want to be there for them or anybody else. It doesn't have to be family, just anyone who's genuinely need help or struggling, because I know what it's like. I've been there.
Well, between age 17 and 19, I was homeless, living out of my car. And the biggest thing I learned is to just keep going. Just keep going, day at a time. That it really works out. Everything really works out if you work really hard. Your heart's in the right spot. That's what I learned. You just have to keep going. You just don't have options of not keeping going. I mean, I've accomplished so much from being homeless. Had my own TV show, did that for 9 years, had my own production team, my own script writers. Yeah, I mean, I just kept going, and I never cared if anybody said no or if anybody would put me down. It didn't really matter because they didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was just eye on the ball. It was just to keep going. None of that mattered. So, yeah, for being uneducated and homeless, I accomplished quite a bit. I had my own show. It was called The Victory Minute, and it was in the news, and it was like a minute of fitness information. And it was like this little synopsis of stuff that me and my writer would put together. And it was just enough to grasp enough information for just the common individual exerciser to just take it and go, yeah, that works for me. Nothing crazy, no CrossFit nonsense, just general fitness.
I don't know if I learned anything. What did I learn? I learned that me and my wife had a special togetherness, a special love, I guess. She was my best friend, you know, all that. I mean, we could look at each other's in the eye, eye to eye, and you could see that love. I could see the love from her, and she said the same. It brought us closer, to that inter-spiritual part, I guess. That was the roughest time in my life, was losing her. And what I learned from that is, I don't know. I just know that I miss her and keep trugging on. That's about all I can say about that.
During the hardest time of my life, how to be a better person, how to forgive people and love people, that would be the hardest time of my life. Oh, you said hardest? Oh, I thought you said harvest. So what I learned during the hardest time of my life was endurance, perseverance, how God loves us and takes care of us regardless of our circumstances and what we're going through. It was a big faith builder. Loss of loved ones, my children.
To take one day at a time. It was in the middle of college when I lost all my friend groups at once, and it was just really me by myself. And I was lucky I had Seth with me, who is my partner, but it was really hard not having anybody when you thought everybody knew you and knew the reasons why you chose different things, but they didn't. So just taking one day at a time really helped me get by, especially in college. I've realized that when you have conversations in group chats and things like that, and just communicate people in general via text, that you're not really getting those same emotions across that you usually do get across, instead of having face-to-face conversations. So I think that's another thing that I did learn is to have face-to-face conversations, and especially important conversations, because it really shows how you relay emotions and everything. Also, group chats, I think too many people rely on them, and I didn't have enough time to look through all the messages, so it seemed like I was a neglectful friend because I didn't want to look through all the text messages and properly reply to everybody and things like that, and not restart conversations instead of starting new ones. So from there, it kind of just all fell apart, and it was just a lot of different things fell apart at once. And I think it was just meant to be, and that's okay. And I've talked to the people since then, and we reconciled and talked about how we all were immature in a different sense of the situation. So there's no more hard feelings, but it was definitely hard being alone, thinking you had so many people, and then feeling like you were a ghost in public around everybody. I was pretty well known, and I was, I guess in a sense, popular on campus because I was really just out there and outgoing. But after all my friend groups went down, it was a lot of anxiety and my self issues. I was reflecting on myself, and it made it going out in public really heavy and feel like people weren't looking at me when they usually were, or people were saying hi to me and stuff like that, and now they weren't. So that was really hard to feel like a ghost.
It's been some pretty hard times. It's good to have support. You can't do it by yourself. Even if you think you can, you can't. It's people need to be trusted that they're not going to hurt you in the hard time, that they're going to be there to support you. And sometimes it's hard to trust when you get in a painful situation. You just want to stay painful and keep it to yourself, close to you. It's your pain. It doesn't have to be that way. That's what I learned. Share it. People care. My wife, my kids, my grandkids. I can't even think about it, brother. This is a tough one. They were hard times. But they were there. And when you have a wife that loves you, and even if you don't have that, if you have somebody that runs up to you and hugs you and accepts you for you, and they don't see the blur, that gets you through it. That's really, because I say that because my grandkids, they don't understand all this stuff. They come running up and they give you a hug, and it's they don't know all this pain in life and everything, but get past that and just look at that hug. It's man, that's how we all need to be, like children sometimes. That's how it works.
So the hardest time of my life has been the last 2 years for sure. So in some ways, maybe I'm definitely learning the greatest lessons I will. learn. I just started graduate school. As I was finishing up the last chapter of my life in undergrad, I was in a long relationship. I was trying to discern whether I would continue on to graduate school and take a pay cut or like commit to the relationship, you know, get a higher paying job and like begin the process of like crystallizing my future, right? Because graduate school is so uncertain. I'm very grateful to say that for the better that relationship came to a close, not in a bad way, but after that happened, I just went for it. I went to graduate school, I committed to graduate school, and I realized in my first year in grad school that I had totally been fabricating the story of who I thought I was. Like, the relationship made me think, I want this thing, I'm gonna form my life in this way, here's my values, I want a family at this age. But many of us, like, experience this over many periods of our life, again and again and again. Like, we like stability, and the relationship was stability. That stability was allowing me to, or incentivizing me to tell a false story about myself. So coming to graduate school, I felt like I fell back in touch with who I really am. There's a big mystery to me. I'm still figuring that out, but at least I'm honest about it. And it just made me realize that the best thing you can do in life, who knows, that's an extreme statement. One of the better things you can do in life is just be honest about who you are and who you're not. Be honest about what you know and what you don't know. I think Nina Simone said this, be who you be. It can be hard to be who you be, but if you listen to that impulse, or you ignore the other impulses to settle too quickly, whether in a relationship or in a career, you'll find that the reward is extremely fruitful, even though the reward is a never-ending pursuit of that thing. And so that's been the biggest teaching moment in the last couple of years, for sure.